The average American has not received this in 3+ years. According to one poll who conducted this research and concluded it August 31st of 2023, the average American employee has not received a raise in 3 years. When you combine this fact with the amount of printing of currency that the government has done over the last almost 4 years now, you can see where the wealth gap is widening and the problems are only just beginning to take root. The big thing here is that when you have the printing of currency, which is the genesis of inflation, as Milton Friedman said, trust but verify what I'm saying, but inflation is government currency printing anywhere and everywhere, paraphrasing, but that is the genesis of it. It's not broken supply chains. It's not Putin's price hike. It's none of those things. Those are symptoms of inflation, and those are just temporary market dislocations that happen in any market, whether you have a deflationary world or inflationary world, doesn't matter. But people blaming that for higher prices forever is just complete gaslighting. When you take into consideration that the dollar has lost 99% of its purchasing power, right around there, give or take. I mean, what does it matter at that point if it's 98 or 97 or 99%? Over the last 110 years since the Federal Reserve was created, that means if you held your dollar, I should do the calculations here, I was looking at them earlier, but if you, for instance, just since 1987, the year I was born, making $25,000 then, it was like making $67,000 now. Think about that. If you made $50,000, it was like making $100,000 to $150,000. And if you made $100,000 at that time, or $150,000 at that time, 37 years ago, it'd be like making $400,000+ now. So you need to buy or have the same amount of dollars, or find more dollars to buy the same exact goods and services, the same ice cream cone or a movie ticket, or buy the same three-bedroom, two-bath house, which a lot of them haven't changed. I've been in real estate for the last 10, 12 years. A lot of them haven't changed since the 60s and 70s and 80s. Most houses really haven't. People haven't updated most of them. And so you're buying the same box of commodities for $300,000, $200,000, $400,000. You're having to find $300,000 of those dollars when that house used to cost $30,000 of those dollars or $50,000 of those dollars. So you can see where we're going with this. And the problem with the average employee not receiving a raise, not only not receiving a raise, but then you have government printing of currency over and over and over again, just every second of every day in fractional reserve lending, spitting cash into the system. Now all the goods and services are going up in price. So now, this is where Mike Maloney always says that Americans, really probably everyone in the world for the most part, know the price of everything, but the value of nothing. It's price versus value. Value is the most important thing. I was doing videos years ago, and I should find a clip of it. Years ago, I was doing whiteboards and showing price versus value and reiterating what Mike Maloney had been teaching 10+ years ago. But price versus value is what people want to, what is your purchasing power? What is the thing you hold? What does it actually buy you? And that's where people start to really get dislocated from reality. And that's where like shrinkflation comes in. When you have, everyone knows this, the yogurt you used to get or a bag of chips now has a fraction of the chips. The bag's the same because they're there obfuscating the truth and trying to get you. Or you buy stuff from a farm and they're putting pesticides and chemicals and all kinds of ridiculous stuff in there to grow them 5 times bigger or twice as big or 10 times as big so you can get more. And I was just telling my family and my wife this other day, but just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Just because you could jump off the bridge doesn't mean you should. Just because I could do drugs doesn't mean I should. It's the same thing with our food. We choose to eat food out of season. Like, we can just have whatever we want when we want it. Well, no, you shouldn't. Like my father-in-law and many of my family members, they don't eat. This is something that I haven't even been as good at as I should be, but we're getting to that place now. And just because you can have strawberries out of season doesn't mean you should. And just because you can get them 3 times as big doesn't mean you should, because now you might be getting a little bit more bang for your buck, it seems, but now you're putting harmful toxins and chemicals into your body that you didn't have to. And so now we have this weird world where we've messed up our bodies. That's why we have an obesity problem. One of the reasons, one of the many reasons, because we're continuing to do things that really aren't necessary. We don't need to do those things. Everyone thinks we just need more and more and more and more and more and more. And that's what an inflationary world does. A world where you're dislocated from reality. There's no feedback loops. When you're constantly printing currency and papering over things, or too big to fail banks, too big to fail GM and Chrysler, Car companies, now you're getting dislocated from reality, and you have bad market signals. You don't have free markets or price discovery, because now the market thinks, well, I can make crappy products and services, and people are still going to buy them. This is great. There's no incentive to change. There's no incentive to get better. There's no incentive to have prices come down and give people a higher standard of living, right? So this is the market we find ourselves in. This is why the average American employee hasn't received a raise in 3 years, and why they're hurting even more. Combined with that fact that prices are rising and people don't have raises, we're in a real trouble of hurt, as the dogs in here, Trigger Man, is ready to roll. So we're in a real world of hurt because of this, and this is where our problems are only beginning. You think about this, and we'll have some other later videos about just the family dynamics, the family structures, and how it's literally mathematical that if you have a family that's together, if you have a father in the family, those children are more likely to have a better education, have a better familial life themselves, etc., etc. We're just beginning to see the ramifications of the last couple decades of families being broken apart, and really currency being the idol that people are following and going to fly around and get jobs and get new jobs and move their families and do all these things just for a bigger paycheck, because inflation's running away from them. So you can see these market dislocations all starting to come together and wreaking havoc all over society. And where are we going? Where is this happening? We have little girls in high school talking about Xanax. I have my wife's an attorney, and she, to have all these stories of little kids talking about Xanax and stuff at their lockers in high school. I didn't know what Xanax was till I was like 28, and I still don't know exactly what it does. That's the sad state of reality because of market dislocations. It's because of a too big to fail world, and because we just think we should be able to have things. Just because we can have them, we should do it. That's not how life works. That's part of the test of life. That's part of the test. Just because you can have something and you could do something doesn't mean you should do it. And that's the discipline. That's the mental fortitude. And that's where the right versus wrong, morality, ethics, all these different things come into play. So I appreciate you being here. Please, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Like 95% of the people that watch these videos aren't subscribed to the channel, actually. So we've been just steadily growing over the last year and a half, or a little over a year and a half, that we've been doing this and had this channel back up and running. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here and building a community, because community is the number one thing in any survival situation. And make no mistake, we are in a survival situation going forward. And again, another reason this article and what we're talking about here is another example of that. And please subscribe. Please subscribe and be a part of this community. If you are open-minded, if you are looking for maybe some answers that aren't talked about in the mainstream media, aren't talked in government-run schools, if you're looking for a reason, like I was for the last 15 years since I left Michigan State and graduated and saw the great financial crisis firsthand and seeing what was going on, and realized that there was one party and they were playing a game on all of us. There was the unproductive class and their destruction of the currency and wiping out generation after generation of people. I understood I needed to do something different. I understand I need to understand the game of money versus currency, what those things mean, price versus value, what these things mean. And that's been my life for the last 15 years. Very political for the 10 years before that. And now the last 15 years, it's all been about investing, building business, building my own skills, and really learning about money versus currency, value versus price, and how these things work and affect our daily lives. So please subscribe. Please be a part of this community. We have some big things in store. Like I said, some offers that I'm going to be making for some consulting. Maybe a few dollars a month, $5 a month, or whatever it is, for a Voxer channel and specific posts I'll be making each month, stuff like that. So if you'd like things like that, and again, these are things how I've grown my wealth. Went from a professional athlete to then building my businesses and growing my wealth. I guess it probably about 15x my net worth. And my net worth wasn't super huge when I left professional hockey. Wasn't millions and millions of dollars, but done very well over the last 10 years, and really outside the stock market. That's the thing. Like, it's easy to say, hey, my wealth went up one or 2x over the last 10 years because I was in the stock market and I didn't do anything. I've grown outside of that. I've done things outside of that, bear assets, things that are outside of the traditional thinking, and I've done very well because of it. So if you want to be part of that community and see exactly what we're doing, let me know in the comments, or get at me on Twitter, Brandon_Gentili there, and I look forward to building this community together. Appreciate you. Please share this out. The algorithm hates truth. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. Trust but verify what I'm saying. And this is not financial advice, it's freedom advice. We'll see you on the next one.